Hey, what's going on, everybody? Bdf 44 coming at you with another video. All right, feeling pretty good, man. It's about 4 o'clock, and I just felt like taking a walk, man. To be honest with you, I didn't really want to go all the way to Hollywood or nothing like that at this hour, but I did want to just get some fresh air, man. I did a lot of art over the last, say, 2 hours. I was wrestling on whether or not I wanted to go out at all, but given the fact that I am out now, it's like, man, this feels great. I'm glad that I did that because I checked the thermostat before leaving the house, and it's like 75 degrees. Problem is, we are going to have some hot days coming up on Monday. Tuesday, it's going to get back up to like 92, 93 degrees. So it's like, man, let me get out here and just soak up some sunshine. I don't really have any reservations about getting out today. I was just kind of lugging around. It was one of them things where it's like, you wake up, do all this exercise, do everything, get caught up watching all types of content, and then you look up, it's 1 o'clock, and you're sitting there, you're laying around, you don't feel like moving, but it's like, man, it is a nice day. Let me try to capture something out here. So, yeah, man, that's really what it is. But I did do about an hour or so of art, and I thought the art came out pretty well. So, there's no complaining on my end, man. I just want to kind of comment a little bit, man. Today is the Nakba Day, and that is for those who are paying attention to the Palestinian genocide. It means that this was the day that the colonial terrorist Israel decided that they were going to take Palestine from the Palestinian people 77 years ago today. They celebrate that day sort of like we celebrate Thanksgiving. You know, all the colonial entities love to come together and celebrate the fact that they stole land from people and slaughtered children, all different types of stuff. You know how weird they are when it comes to stuff like that. But yeah, today is the Nakba Day, man. And you know, it's just worth saying that this did not take place just 580 days ago, or where we are, somewhere in that range, 580 days. But this has been going on for 77 years now, and have controlled so much of these people's land and power, and whether or not they're able to move around on the land and all these different things, just completely and utterly treat these people poorly for 77 years, man, and just to kill them off in the 75th year. And so, you know, they're starving people right now, seeing that they killed 101 children yesterday in this genocide. 101, one day, one of the deadliest days we've seen in this genocide. Yesterday, to commemorate, of course, Nakba, in celebration of this initial slaughtering. They continued in this genocide, targeting 101 children, I think was the count, last night. So, like, when you embrace what it is that I just said to you, you understand why you have so many people getting up, saying what they're saying and talking and trying to speak out, despite not seeing your local news talk about it or your government have anything really to say about it, other than they're gonna continue to let it happen unless it benefits them and they change their mind. You know how that goes. But I mean, you understand, they not 101 people, 101 children. No telling how many people the count was. Like, this is what I'm saying to you. When we talk about, when we want to see a change in this situation, we want to see this genocide end. We want to see people held accountable from every end of this circumstance. It's because we know what is going on there. They're targeting kids. It's not that like they're just targeting soldiers like they tell you they are. That's not what's happening there. And they want us to look away. They want us to just listen to the lies that they tell as they continue to paint themselves out to be the victims. But those are lies that we can't listen to. We're not afforded the opportunity to pretend like we haven't had this live screen in our phones for the past 580 days. They, them, and their intentions on doing this when technology allows for them to be seen are why people are protesting them. Why so much of what it is that they have going on is starting to get affected by the spreading of the word of this genocide and people becoming more and more active in boycott. They are why. Don't let them lie to you, telling you that we just believe in a bunch of stuff that we've been told. No. When you do crimes on camera, you snitch on yourself. That goes for black people in these streets, and that goes for Zionists in this genocide. You did it on camera. No one has to spread any word. No one has to put forth any propaganda. Nobody has to tell anybody anything to help them understand. You look at the footage, and the footage shows you what you need to see. Now, if you want to look away from the footage and align with the overall plan that they have, then that's just what's in your heart. That's what you're going to do. But don't tell me the footage ain't there, when I've been staring at it in my phone for the last 580 days. And so that's where the frustration, I guess, lies. They're dying on the lie. They're trying to convince people who haven't been paying attention that what we're seeing is not what we're seeing, but more so us following propaganda placed in our faces, sort of like, if not exactly like, they control propaganda that is thrown in our faces throughout our media. Of course, every accusation is confession, so they'd like to tell us that we've been subscribing to propaganda and lies, when actually they've been feeding us propaganda and lies, and kind of control what it is that we see in regards to those lies, so that it will somehow discredit the witnesses who have been seeing this in their phones for 580 days. They have to discredit the witnesses. They're not trying to convince anyone who's seen that they didn't see what they saw. They got to convince the people who are listening to us, telling them what we saw, that we have no credibility, and furthermore, we're getting our information from something other than our eyes looking at the crimes themselves. And see, that's what people need to understand, because they know there's a lot of people who are not paying no attention to this. They know it's a lot of people who don't know what's going on there. But the reality is, there are a lot of us who've seen what's going on there. We're watching this stuff in our phones. We don't need to listen to anyone talk to us. You know what I'm saying? As I've already said. And so this is why you see so much going on in regards to students who are in these universities speaking out against this. They try to discredit their own children, say that their children are terrorist sympathizers and people who will just succumb by terrorist propaganda and lies and anti-Semitic blood libel, or whatever words they've made up. But the truth of the matter is, those children are theirs. Those children of ours in these universities, they've been tapped into all of the social media sites that have live streamed and recorded images of what it is that they're trying to discredit. This is what is actually going on there. And they control the media. So the media is going to discredit the students. But remember, these are your students. These are the people who are going to get their higher education, who've earned their right to higher education. They're not the foolish amongst us. They're not the blind amongst us. These are our brightest of the next generation, who are telling you, I saw this. It's not right. I did my homework on it. It's not right. And that the people that are controlling what you see are in on it. And so that's what I want people to understand. Obviously, if you follow me and you've been listening to any conversations I've been having, you already know this is what it's been the whole time. But I think on a day like today, it's important to re-examine all of this, because they are trying to discredit young people and say that they're stupid, or say that they're brainwashed, or whatever. Hey, buddies. But the actuality is, they've been fed nonsense as children. They have been brainwashed. And what they're having a hard time with is awakening to the understanding that the rest of us do not harbor the same moral principles that they harbor, as it pertains to them having the right to harm others in the name of themselves. This is the part they're having a hard time with, as I listen to a lot of them be so appalled at what they see. There was a kid yesterday, valedictorian of NYU University, at his graduation, got up there and dedicated his speech to what's taking place in Palestine. And they didn't cut him off which is telling in and of itself, if I'm being honest with you. They did make sure he didn't get his diploma, because of course, have to try to discredit the kid. But his speech has gone viral at this point, further awakening more people to the realities of the circumstance. And of course, you listen to commentary from their side, the Zionist side. There's a lady who got on, it's going viral right now, talking about how, you know, he was spitting blood libels and anti-Jewish rhetoric and hateful Jewish rhetoric. And it's not so appalling that he said these things, but that he believes them. And we have to try to reach our children and get to, you know, get rid of the faculty that is teaching them these lies, is essentially what their point of view is. They're blaming the faculty, essentially the grown-ups around them are brainwashing the kids. But it's like, that may work if it wasn't so much footage everywhere, reaching new eyes every day of the various things that he's talking about. If the stories of people like Hind were not just like literally everywhere at this point, then maybe you could get off saying, yo, this kid has been brainwashed by his faculty and by the adults around him to hate Jewish people. But the reality is, the footage is available to everyone. It's there. All you got to do is access it. Look for it and access it. You will see the footage. And that's what I would tell anybody who's on the fence about this situation. Look, if you, as I've said already in this video, if you align with this and you believe that genocide should be done against the Palestinian people, then that's just your point of view. I don't agree with it. I think you're a horrible human being for that. But that's one thing. But to actually believe what is being told to you by these people who do, some of that's willful ignorance on your part at this point, because we're telling you that we've seen it and that you could see it too. Now, if you want to look away from it, that's yours to do. But as far as us having any actual discredit attached to our names, that's something that is easily debunked by anyone with a phone. And so that's really what it comes down to. I want people to understand. I'm not here to tell you anything other than these people deserve to live, not because of their color, because of the fact that they are alive and deserve an opportunity to survive just like anybody else. Not because I'm so appalled that this happened to them and maybe wouldn't be appalled if it happened to somebody else. I'm appalled if it happens to anybody, and most importantly, I don't want it to happen to anybody else. So regardless of what the ideology is that will make it so that a person be comfortable with this or not is irrelevant. Regardless of how much of a threat you think is coming at you and you think you need to wipe out people in order for you to be safe. Also, I don't subscribe to that. It's irrelevant to me. I don't think you should be destroying children for any reason, not even to save yourself. And I think you're wrong for that. Unless that child is holding a gun up to you, talking about pulling the trigger or shooting at you, you got to defend yourself. But any other situation outside of that, you destroying kids for preventative measures to keep terrorist attacks from happening 20 years from now, that ideology that agrees with that is corrupt and warped. And as I've said several times, even a baby animal would understand that that's not right. Even a puppy would understand that that's not right. So you'd have to be fed that as a puppy, so to speak, in order to abide by it. And I think that that's what we're coming to realize that a lot of people have been. They were fed this stuff as babies. We've seen footage now of these grown-ups teaching their children to hate not only Palestinians, but anyone that would otherwise oppose their views. And we've seen plenty of footage. That footage is also available to you, as they, within their space of lies and propaganda and brainwashing, have told all of us that it's the other side, the Palestinian people, that have been raising their children to hate and have a doctrine written out that they're going to kill Jewish people. Every accusation in this situation is a confession. And we have literal video proof of them teaching their children in various stages of different spaces how to hate Palestinians and how to furthermore want destruction upon these people. And we're supposed to walk around confused about that, or second guessing what we've seen, or being so afraid of them that we won't speak up on it. They haven't done it, like I've said many times, they haven't done a good enough job of making that be the case. They haven't done a good enough job to make us too afraid to speak up against what is clearly immoral to the rest of us. It's a cult. They catch these people as toddlers and teach them this stuff. But what they didn't teach them is that other people wouldn't agree with it. What they didn't teach them is what the rest of the world actually is versus what it is that they are and what they believe. So now they come out and they see all of us protesting that nonsense that they're on. And it's like they're absolutely appalled at the idea that we don't agree. Because you were raised to kill people and think that it's okay to kill people in your name. Because you think it's okay to steal land and do all types of evil stuff to people just because they are who they are and you are who you are. Doesn't mean that everybody else agrees with that. Doesn't mean that the rest of the world is on that same type of time. We are not. None of us were raised that way. None of us think that that's okay. If we were to engage in something like that, we think we're doing wrong. Now, whether or not people choose to do wrong in life, that's a whole nother story. But that we be confused that it should be done? Nah, we weren't confused that way. We weren't raised that way. I hate to tell y'all this, Zionists, but you were the only ones fed that. The only ones. And if you look around, you'll see that. You see a world of people from places that are not related to one another, not agreeing with your principles. For killing children in the name of yourselves. For stealing land and making it okay in that way. You'll see a bunch of governments that you've paid to be yes men in your lives, agreeing to that ideology. They'll agree to anything you say. But as far as the people and what people are teaching one another, look around. We don't roll that way. Hurting people is wrong. If we can't figure out a way to get along, we may have a battle here and there, but we don't need to wipe out all of your kids and all of your family to protect ourselves. We may like what you have, but it doesn't mean that we feel that we have a right to come and take it from you and expect that we are right for doing so, like the world is supposed to align with that. That's only you were taught that. And they're so appalled that the rest of us are not in that space of deviancy. It's fascinating, really. It's fascinating. But the truth of the matter is, it just speaks to how well they brainwash one another. It speaks to how well they have aligned with this nonsense and kept themselves away from the rest of the world to see what everybody else is on. To discover how brainwashed and warped they are. They've done a great job of keeping that from being in their midst. They don't want to see that. They don't want each other to see that. Start finding out that actually, when you go anywhere else with that mentality, you are a psychopath. You are a terrorist. None of us give each other passes for doing these things to one another. None of us believe this is the only way we're going to be safe. None of us think that children are going to grow up to be exactly what we think they are, so therefore we need to take preventative measures by murdering them all. Nobody else thinks that but you, Zionists. So you get mad at people for protesting you, understand it's because you've been fed poison. Not everybody is wrong but you. You need to start questioning what you've been given. When you start seeing nobody else agree, everywhere in the world, people who are unrelated to one another are on the same page as it pertains to you being wrong. That should tell you something about the world versus what you've been shared, what has been given to you. That should tell you something about the rest of the world. The rest of the world. You got people in places that I've never even heard of protesting this genocide. Zionists have to ask themselves, at some point in time, you got to ask yourselves, why are we the only people who think this is fine? And why are people so vehement about us not doing this? How do other people handle such situations, if not for the measures that we're willing to take? And that they didn't take those measures, am I to say that they've never been in that type of danger in the history of their people? Or am I to assume that they found a different way to handle that type of threat? See, these are the type of questions that we need them to start asking themselves. We need to normalize sharing with them what is critical thinking outside of the box for their people, so that they can start to really wonder if the measures they take are for the betterment of their people, as they continue to see so much resistance to their fundamental values. Fundamental values that in the rest of our minds betrays our reputations. And then furthermore, as they see everyone turn on them for this behavior, also too sullies their reputations as they engage in it. And if they want to further hold on to those, at least having gone through the process first of questioning it. They're doing too much in regards to that awakening of understanding that what they've been given is poisonous for them, to try to mold the world around them to fit that for which has been shared. But when you realize you are in a world where no one else shares that, one who's able to think for themselves has to question if that's the method from which to take. Especially when it's destruction attached to their fate when engaging in said propaganda or what's been taught to them. Everyone else has a heart for these people but you. Is it out of the question that you've been given something that was poisonous? Can that not be possible? Can it not be possible that maybe somebody wanted you systematically to all function in a way that doesn't align with the rest of the world? For whatever set of reasons, could it be even possible that you were fed some poison? And if you can convince yourself that all of us need to align with what it is that we don't agree with, then you have to ask yourself, why don't we agree? Why don't they think we should kill children? Why don't these people just allow us to just engage in this Nakba 2 or whatever we want to genocide? If this is reasonable measures, why does the rest of the globe not agree? And people like Jerry Seinfeld, they've been fed this stuff since they was 2 years old. They've always had these ideologies, but never the need to express it to us. Do you think that's by accident? No, you were taught not to. Your way of thinking has effectively kept you from ever having conversations like this. The way they wired putting that propaganda in your head also wired you not to question it. Do you sense that in any way? But see, it's bulletproof because at the end of the day, they just tell themselves they're chosen. That's what makes it bulletproof. And we chosen. It's not the same for us as it is for you. Not the same for you as it is for us. I'm like, okay, then whatever you taught obviously can just be written off in that. But are you exempt from the consequences? No. Ideology fails you, man. It fails you and it fails the people that you're harming with it. And it does nothing to make you safe, because at the end of the day, you're creating enemies in places you didn't have them. Trying to destroy one enemy in a immoral way, you're creating enemies everywhere else. So maybe you get to wipe out the Palestinians, But now you got everybody else looking to kill you. You're gonna wipe us all out? That's what's gonna be required to keep you safe. Is that not worked into the thinking? Is that not worked into the equation? Didn't they write something about that in the book? It's just these ideologies are cult-like brainwashing tactics that have been placed upon these people since they were children, man. That's the truth. And the denial that they awaken to is what we're seeing. They awaken from a stupor of immoral and backwards practices. And they're trying their very best to utilize the formulas that were also taught to them to combat the logic of reality and truth. Mental gymnastics and different things that they are supposed to do when confronted. That should make their combatants question their own sanity, and furthermore make them stop talking to them about what it is they're confronting them about. But again, that's debunked entirely by the footage of what it is that's shown in regards to the actions and the measures they're taking, following their ideology down this bloodbath path. So anytime they want to use the "I know you are, but what am I? I'm the victim. And here's the position that my victims took. See, that's what's being done to me." When they use that stuff, we just show them the footage. And they get stuck, so they just get angry and start screaming out another form of what it is they're taught. Horrible, vile things to express to human beings that ultimately come to mind. Usually involving some type of assault of a sexual nature, or word wishes for the opponent, saying that the opponent is a terrorist. They all have been taught this is how you handle being confronted with what challenges what is in us. When all else fails, insult. Heavily, deeply depraved insults at them. To try to, I'd imagine, provoke us into doing something stupid. I'd imagine try to provoke us into lashing out. And then from there, they could take the legal process against people. When you say you want somebody to have this happen to them or that happen to them, then an average human being is going to lose their junk and ultimately spiral and stop being logical in those situations. I'm telling you, everything they do is tactical. These are tactics that have been taught and passed down from generations of how to handle being confronted for the ideologies that really don't align with anything true. And that we see these engaged formulas and understand that they've been passed to these people. We also understand what we need to do when confronted or when confronting them. And the truth prevails in the end. And the footage is there for it all. So what is inevitable in these situations, when they start using these formulas and realizing they don't work anymore, and they start seeing people continue to force back protest, despite all of their taught tactics to combat the truth as we understand it versus a lie and blood libels as they understand it, then they're going to be met with the old, what else is there for me to do? And that's when they start to destroy themselves. Those who are ready to accept that what their ideology is no good versus those who are in denial about it, who would fight to the death just because it's all they know and they're afraid to change. They're going to destroy one another. That's exactly what happens there. And it's designed to do that. And see, that's the part that they don't understand at all. That's what it's for. It's not just that you destroy others, it's that you destroy you. When whoever thought of what it is that y'all believe is a cult put it together, their intention was for you to destroy others and then from there be destroyed as well. And when you break down what comes of what it is that they're doing, and what it is that they believe, and what are the expected outcomes from these behaviors, that's exactly what you're going to find is their own destruction, implosion, violence pointed at them and their children. That's exactly what comes of this. And furthermore, them losing everything that they have. All the things that they own, all the power that they have, it all goes away. It's by design. It's thought up that way. It's a very wicked ideology created by the imagination of the enemy of God. And if you understand the enemy of God, then you understand why it's designed to destroy those who agree with it. This is what we've been teaching and talking about on this channel for over a year now. And that's why I don't fear the Zionists. This is why I don't fear them, because I know that their ideology is meant for their own destruction. It's sort of like being on the Titanic. Anything around that thing is going to sink, not just people who are on it. If you're a ship real close by, there's a good chance you could be pulled down with it. And that's why I'm telling y'all, don't fear them. Continue to educate. Continue to keep your relationship with God tight and follow your instructions of what it is that you know you should, based on ideologies that are not meant to self-destruct you in the end. You can live amongst others. You can admire somebody having something of theirs and follow the rules that they have in place in order to have yourself be welcome where they are. You don't have to take their land just because you like it. You don't have to believe yourself to be better just because you understood something that maybe they don't understand, or you found some type of evolutionary sophistication within your practices of life that maybe you would love to share with them. You are not supposed to kill people just so that you can inhabit the land that they're in. We can share it all. We can live amongst one another. As we can grow to understand one another better, we'll find that we are human beings designed to be able to live with one another and amongst one another and share with one another. It's these ideologies that were created by the enemy that make it so that we don't believe we can live amongst one another. It's the absence of communication based on folklore, stereotypes, racism, and all these other dividing factors that make us think we can't live amongst one another. You see experiments of this all over the world where people live amongst one another. What's up, man? How you doing? We see that. What's up, brother?
So, what are you doing?
Making a video, man, trying to get people to work with one another. You know how I go, man. We can live amongst one another. Yeah, for sure. What's your name, bro? Goku/4245. Good brother right here. Giving him a shout out, man. Bdf 44. See you later, homie. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and give the homie a follow. But you know, it's one of them situations where we can live amongst one another. Black, Hispanic, white, Asian, Jewish, Christian, Muslim, Protestants, atheists. We all can live amongst one another. The human condition is not designed to be at odds with one another. It's the idea that there's so few to share, and furthermore competition from which to rise to the top type ideologies that make it so that we don't believe it's possible that we live amongst one another. Children can live amongst one another. They can all sit in the same room, share the same drinks. They might have little battles here and there, and if a grown-up's in place, they teach them how not to. They all go to sleep at nap time and wake up and play together in the daytime. These experiments have shown us that we don't have to hate one another in order to live amongst one another, in order to share the world with one another. We can share it all. And that's an ideology that allows for less violence, more thriving, more help amongst circumstances that the world takes on, that requires us to work with one another in order to survive. These are the things that God, a living God who wants you to thrive and survive and be plentiful in your numbers, is going to put inherently in you from birth. If not taught ideologies passed down that are meant to do the opposite by his enemy. And so this is why I want people to understand, like, It's only but so much of this is going to work because the evidence of the contrary is in their faces. You don't have to do the evil racist stuff that they're doing in order to enjoy the world you in. Because we see places all over the world where people are living together and separate without being at each other's throats. Places where there really is very little to work with. People sharing with one another and finding ways to thrive and enjoy their days. I don't have to be better than you in my mind in order to have confidence in your presence. I don't need to stand on your back in order for me to have a good day in my life or to thrive and keep my lifestyle positive. None of those things are actually required. It's a cancerous entity of Satan that wants us to adapt to the opposite, believe the opposite, and furthermore, never question the natural thing, which is us having peace, getting along, forgiving one another, and finding ways of understanding one another better, man. Doing things that we can't forgive one another for, so to speak, so that we never turn back around and have conversations about how it's in our best interest for survival to be more peace with one another. And so that's what I want to share with y'all, man. On this day where we celebrate, quote unquote celebrate, Nakba, although there's nothing to celebrate. But when we consider the martyrs, this is what they died for. This is what all of the people, indigenous people of the world have died for. A collective understanding that brings about more resentment, more violence, less safety for those who engage in it, less numbers for the people who suffer the ills of it on both sides. In the long run, and that peace is what you need to be striving for as a people. Peace is what you need to be striving for as a religion. Peace is what you need to be striving toward to survive in your collective communities. Because it is the safest path. It is what's going to leave you in a space where you can lay your head down and not have to worry. It's the only path to that. Sharing, being respectful, having manners, living and letting other people live. Not being self-centered, not being so combative, not being so ready to fight all of the time about every little thing. Harboring some forgiveness for somebody else. These are the things that keep you really safe. Not attacking children to prevent terrorism in the future. That's not a quality preventative measure to those behaviors. Peace, friendship is what's going to inspire the safety that you require to survive. Letting people just be, man. Sharing a little bit. Caring a lot more. Don't let people like the Zionists feed you poison that's meant to kill you without them actually knowing that's what it's meant to do while they adapt to it. Hateful rhetoric that's going to create more enemies in their life and less support for their strife when it comes their way. It's people celebrating their deaths, not celebrating anyone else's, just theirs for the energy they've put out. You don't have to be paranoid in this life. You just got to know what it is that you want and know how to get it and go after it. And that don't mean taking nothing from nobody. That means inspiring peace, inspiring devotion, inspiring love, inspiring support. There are going to be times where it doesn't come your way, even though you put it out. But creating the environment where that is what you are aiming for, and that is the culture that you're normalizing, will make the numbers make more sense when it's time for us to look at how safe we actually are. It's peace that's going to keep people at ease. Not ambition to war. Not annihilation of people. Not supremacy. Those things create enemies, which creates war, which decreases your numbers. Have mothers crying, daddies dying. This is what brings strife and pain and trauma into the lives of people. When you put out good energy, you're going to have good energy come back your way, I promise you. I'm standing next to a plant of some sort. Ain't nothing but bees around this thing. This is not the safest place for me to stand. But you know what I understand about bees? They're too busy to attack you. They're waiting for you to attack them or put out some energy that's otherwise threatening. If you're putting out the energy of the Holy Spirit, bees will leave you alone within reason, because I ain't telling you to go stand underneath a beehive and wave your arms like a madman. But if you have solidarity energy around a bee, chances are they're going to leave you alone, man. That's a metaphor for everything I've ever said in this camera in that regard. Peace is your best bet, and working together for a common cause, just like the bees in their example, is how you truly make it in this world. Not cutting down your numbers. And when you really look at what the human race is about, when you talk about what racism and what is inspired from this presence of racism, it's cutting down the human race's numbers for its differences. Oh, they black, we got to kill them off. Oh, they white, we got to kill them off. You're killing your numbers. That's less people to work together to find solutions for problems that everyone has. You're not better for that ideology. You're not better for that mentality. We all bring something different to the world. And when we start looking at it that way, then we start striving for the right things instead of letting old ideology by people who were mistaken lead us down a path of hatred. Lead us down a path that don't leave us with enough numbers to face what it is that's coming our way someday. As we continue to destroy the world, affecting the environment, we're losing people with ideologies that are only meant for few. You're going to need more than a few for what's coming, and that's the point. So stop letting these ideologies ruin us and can cut down our numbers, man. Stop allowing our points of views that haven't even been well thought out, that we were likely taught as children, that don't lead to nothing but destruction, lead us down a path of destruction. And start praying to a living God for instruction. Bdf 44, I thank you all for watching.